Looking at the preview for next week, it would seem that our next big development regarding the wider narrative of the story is here. I've stated that this series is going to have moments of cooldown before getting back to it, and last week was one of those moments, with Nanao getting some spotlight after so much has happened. This week, we're continuing that streak, though with some heavier conversations to be had, albeit within a not so normal family vacation. Chapter coverage wise, chapters 52 and 53 were adapted entirely, with a nice heap of anime-only additions, both serving future content and today's as well, which as always proved to be beneficial. I do want to say that presentation-wise, this was arguably one of the best episodes in this core. I'll be making sure to go back and look into who contributed to this episode in particular, but hats off to everyone who contributed, from the line work to really bringing certain expressions to life this week. Hopefully all who did will be able to stick around sooner than later regarding the future, but for now, we start this week off with a brief anime-only edition with Taiyo's training. Chapter 52 does immediately start off with the family heading down to their trip, but in the anime, we get to see Taiyo and Shinzo train, notably for Taiyo to still work on controlling his newfound power. Continuing with his trend of progression, this mastery will be gradual as well as its evolution, but for now, we're keeping it simple and trying to limit how long he remains in the state before side effects kick in. Keep that in mind, it'll come back sooner than you think, especially with Kyoichiro's words of wisdom. Now, Mutsumi has come to bring an unexpected opportunity this week, and that's a family vacation to stay at the Endless Hell Hot Springs. Of course, this is no normal hot spring as it belongs to the underworld, but it is a neutral zone in terms of conflict, so all beef is left on the outside as you come to relax yourself on the inside. This is the first time we actually get to see the family do some major relaxing away from their usual routine, of course this time accompanied by Taiyo in place of Kyoichiro due to his mission taking priority overseas. Of course, that's not gonna stop him from threatening Taiyo about getting too intimate in his absence, but what can you do? This is Kyoichiro we're dealing with. A chaotic car ride and underwater travel method thanks to Shion brought us to the hot springs, and again, really nice stuff this week in the process of getting there. As always, I enjoyed seeing so many personalities packed in one setting, from Shinzo's nervousness to Nanao's puking of drugs, and of course Futaba taking zero part in any of the chaos whatsoever. Can't get enough of it, and as always, the VAs are doing good work. From the moment of arrival to the point where everyone heads to their rooms, we get a pretty nice mix of majority anime-only content with some nice integrated canon as well. Notably, the members of the organization took down by Kyoichiro confronting the Yozakuras was anime only, as they did not show up originally until the dinner hall. We also got a anime original character being the hostess of the hot springs, known to be Emma, who managed to calm the conflict. Again, the anime's focus on adding a lot more flow to the events rather than them just happening or popping up without any context behind them once again makes way, and in these calmer episodes, they really work out well. From here, things take a turn to play out as intended by the manga's context. The boys getting their childish side on, with rushing to the seats and Kingo being Kingo, while Taiyo having a brief moment of remembering his normal that naturally resonated with the brothers. Meanwhile, the ladies having a bit more of a calmer room, though we come to notice hidden intentions regarding Mutsumi. Futaba picks up on it, and she questions if Mutsumi is going to talk to Taiyo about that, in which we know that some heavier conversations are in order. Another reason why Futaba is my favorite character outside of just who she is the way she's able to read the room and always give the right pushes. Now, from this point onward, we get to see the family vibe out with all sorts of activities at the hot springs. They added a small amount of additional scenes, such as Kingo trolling, Shinzo getting some shooting range practice in, and of course Futaba continuing to relax as much as she can. A small expansion onto page 13, but again, just fleshing out a little bit more screen time for everyone. The dinner hall plays out as intended as well, with just a few minor changes. In the manga, Futaba initially jumps away from the folks that had beef with the Yozakuras, though in the anime she stays seated. Additionally, Kingo is a bit farther away from the family in the anime as he is making fun of Kyoichiro. All in all, just a matter of putting things into an anime, though the drunk Futaba stays pretty true. I'm really glad they kept the chibi-like design as she rampaged through the hall while Taiyo and Mutsumi scurried to safety. With our main couple isolated, we get a little bit more intimate with Mutsumi requesting that the two take a bath together. Thankfully, Gondaira keeps it pretty simple and humorous, with Taiyo's embarrassment versus Mutsumi's casualness. However, we take a moment to shift the tone in a more serious direction as Mutsumi brings up that conversation she wanted to have, and we see her reveal a giant scar in the center of her chest. She follows up by saying that there was a moment where where she was captured by the Tampopo and they tried to take her heart out. This goes back to Kawashida's original plan that you need the heart of the head in order to produce the blood of the family in a large quantity, stating that it can create thousands of both compatible people and victims, in which Taiyo has kinda fell into this middle position where his dosage was all part of dear old dad's plan. A plan in which we still don't know much about or what his intentions even are, and after everything that has happened recently, it's starting to finally weigh down on her conscience. With the initial flashback of her father as well, she admits to her own ignorance as she truly does not know a thing about what is going on regarding her father and about what to do for everyone's sake in general. Even with no combat capabilities, she is still the family head and keeps things going as a whole, but that doesn't change the fact that the unknown will still creep up on her if given enough time, and that's exactly where we are now. There is honesty in vulnerability, and with a sharp reply, Taiyo flat out says, "Let's go see him." The pursuit of the truth is a road Taiyo already walks now, and for Mutsumi's sake, it's a road he will continue to do if they can find a way to get some form of answers. Moments like these are so important when looking at Taiyo and Mutsumi's relationship, and not everything will be rainbows and sunshine, but even so, there's nothing that these two cannot work through together. This conversation led to reassurance Mutsumi needed, and heading into next week, we'll be tailing some major reveals, but for now, we get a really heartwarming starting line. Unfortunately, it was interrupted as Kyoichiro managed to make it to the springs after all, but thankfully, the siblings come to the rescue, and quite frankly, all the extra guests do as they straight up jump Kyoichiro with pillows. Shion ends up pulling out a minigun for God's sake, but what is a Yozakura family episode if not for some shenanigans? Overall, a very sweet episode, giving the family a breather and our married couples some space in order to talk about all the important developments that have happened. Once more, huge props to the staff on this episode, as I definitely think it's a top 3 for the season so far, but next week may end up pushing things to a new level if met with the understanding. At this point, we're headed into Volume 7 territory, and I believe the anime will end up around the Volume 8 range, but with our final 9 episodes to go, we'll see. With that, it's gonna bring me to the end of this week's review. As always, thanks for watching, and make sure to leave all your thoughts about the episode in the comments section down below. Till then, be safe out there, and until next Sunday for episode 19.